Hi, welcome to the CAHME Mentorship Circle Educational Series. My name is Jami Jones and I'm from the Medical University of South Carolina. This session is on preparing for a CAHME site visit using your LMS or Learning Management System. So first, a little bit about the CAHME Mentorship Circle or CMC. The goal of the CMC is to further CAHME's mission of advancing the quality of healthcare management education. The CMC designation recognizes CAHME programs that demonstrate a commitment to excellence, not only to their own programs, but across the broader field of healthcare management education. CMC designation is an honor and a responsibility. Several CMC programs have volunteered to share key processes and approaches through this webinar series. Again, my name is Jami Jones. I'm a professor and I'm the chair of the Department of Healthcare Leadership and Management at the Medical University of South Carolina. I'm also the Master's in Health Administration Division Director, and I am a CAHME Commissioner. So first, using the LMS system for a site visit. It's really convenient because if you can optimize your LMS system for a site visit, it's virtually one-stop shopping for your CAHME site visit team. And it's also a great way to organize your program documentation so that you have easy access to it and other faculty members can have easy access to it as well. This also allows your site visit team to pre-review the documentation well ahead of the site visit. So if there are any questions or concerns or missing documentation, it's going to be very easy for the site visit team to identify what those needs are and communicate it to you ahead of time. And this just makes for a much smoother site visit in general. So a little bit about program overview. Your LMS system can give a great program overview to the CAHME site visit team. And this is because all of your courses and content can be uploaded onto the LMS system, and the site visit team really gets a sense of what your overall curriculum looks like. So this includes things like syllabi, which should be included anyway as part of the self-study process. But if anything is missing, it's usually definitely in the LMS system under a course. The site visit team will also be able to see the different topics in courses. They'll be able to look at graded exams and papers, readings, videos, lectures, and discussion boards. So, for example, Criterion 3A5 states the program curriculum will facilitate development of students' competencies in management and leadership. For example, if the site visit team looks at the syllabi in the self-study document and doesn't really see or understand where the topic of leadership is covered, if they have access to the LMS system, it's really easy to go in and see the topics, because if they're not listed in the syllabi, if they're in the LMS system, they'll be able to see what topics you cover, and they'll be able to look at the assignments and discussion related to those topics. So, for example, this is a course on organizational theory and behavior, and you can see the content as far as the topics by week, but the site visit team, if they weren't able to tell that leadership was covered in the syllabus, they would be able to go into this course and see that there is a lecture on leadership, there are several readings, there's a discussion board, so they'd be able to read some of the discussion around the leadership topic, and there's also an assignment associated with it. So they'd get a better sense that that competency that I referred to in the previous slide was actually being covered in the curriculum. And so this is really a way to provide further evidence that you are covering certain competencies within your curriculum, especially when they may not be apparent in the syllabi. The other way you can use your LMS system is data collection. You can run numerous reports with your LMS system about student use and access to the LMS system. But the site visit team will also be able to look at grades, graded papers. They'll be able to see the feedback that instructors have given students. You can also use your LMS system for surveys, and the site visit team would have access to any surveys that you may use for your course. And you can also cover competencies. You can collect data on particular competencies covered in courses. So for example here, you can use your LMS system to create a survey. And this survey is associated again with an organizational theory and behavior course. And you could create a survey of the competencies covered in those courses and just get a general overview of the student's self-assessment of how those competencies were covered in your course. So this can really, again, bolster your case that you are covering specific competencies, and you can also use it to identify maybe competencies that you don't cover as much. But the site visit team will be able to see that you are tracking all of these things, and they can be able to see the real-time results and then also what you implemented in response to particular surveys. Then there's also content. The LMS is a really useful tool, not just to showcase your curriculum, but also to organize documents for the entire site visit. So for example, if you look at the CAHME Site Visit Records Review checklist, you can see they require documentation on admissions and advising, complaints, curriculum, competency assessment, program evaluation, and planning. You can use this checklist to create folders within your LMS system and organize your documentation through your LMS. Let me give you an example. So for curriculum, you might have one overall, whether you call it a CAHME site visit course or whether you call it an MHA program course, it doesn't matter. But you might have as part of the content the curriculum. And you might upload capstone papers and projects if they're not already available in a capstone class. You also might upload course evaluations, so a particular file for each course under the curriculum section. You might have a section on admissions and advising where you upload your advising records, and you could do this by year. So for example, in your LMS CAHME course, you might upload graded course materials. Here are faculty evaluations. You might have admissions and advising documents. You might have competency assessment and feedback documents and meeting minutes. So it's up to you how you organize this, but it's useful to use that records review checklist to make sure you have all of the documentation and you've got it organized nice and neatly in these particular sections in your LMS so that it makes it very easy for the site visit team to go and access documentation and access those folders for one very smooth site visit. However, there are some things to consider when you're using your LMS. One is getting your faculty on board. If you are teaching in an online program or an executive style program, it's likely that your faculty are already using the LMS system quite extensively. However, if you're teaching in a residential program, some of your faculty may be utilizing the LMS a lot, and others maybe not so much. So a key component to making this successful is to get your faculty on board and utilize that LMS. So put all of the content on the LMS, do grading through the LMS, and then try and make those courses uniform, because the more uniform the courses are, it's easier for the site visit team to work their way through the course, but it's also going to make it easier for students because they learn what to expect, how the course should be organized. So that's really the first step, is getting the faculty on board with utilizing the course and understanding and complying with how the course should be organized. And you may have to offer some training or some assistance for this. And then you want to create and organize a CAHME site visit course or folder. And this is fairly easy to do, but you're going to have to work with your IT team to set up this course. And then you're going to have to think about who has access to this, because it's going to have a lot of documentation. So while you build this course, you certainly want your program director to have access and to be able to upload information. You'll probably want your department chair to do the same. Your student services and your administrative folks are going to need access to the course because they will likely be helping you upload documentation. And anyone else who you are going to rely on to upload documentation to this course in preparing for your site visit. However, keep in mind that there's going to be some sensitive data, and so you really want to think about who has access to this course. And finally, you want the CAHME site visit team to have access to this course. And this seems obvious, but this can actually be one of the trickier components to utilizing your LMS for a site visit, in that at some universities with some LMS systems, it's very difficult to get external people access to an internal LMS system. So you're going to want to start working with your information technology team at least a year in advance to develop a plan as to how you are going to get those site visitors access to your LMS system. Now, for some of you, this is not going to be an issue, but for other people at certain universities, I know it will. So work in advance to make sure you will be able to get that team access to your particular CAHME course for the accreditation site visit. So that's it in a nutshell as to how you can utilize and optimize your LMS to make your CAHME site visit go smoother for you and for the site visit team. If you would like more information on the CAHME Mentorship Circle, please contact Melissa Cross, the Education Coordinator, or visit the CAHME website. Thank you. Have a great day.